guys hear me okay? Okay, I haven't used a microphone in a very long time, so let me know if there's any problems. Like he said, my name is Connie. I'm the owner of Journey Care Coordinating. My story begins in January of 2020. I turned 35. I started thinking about, okay, I'm 35 now. How do I get from 35 to 55? What would something like that kind of look like? As a kid, I always had goals and ambitions to work towards. As an American, I always had the dream to fulfill. The car, the kids, the house, the education, the husband, the stuff. But turning 35 and already having accomplished most of those things, it really got me thinking and wanting to put some goals in place. How do we get from 35 to 55? Okay, well then, how do we get from 55 to 75? Oh wait, we're all living a lot longer now, so how do you get from 75 to 105? And what does that actually look like to live in those later stages of life? So at the time, I was a manager at a home care company in Alexandria, Virginia. My official title was the Manager of Caregiver and Client Operations. I was managing about 120 caregivers. We had about 200 clients, and we had about an office staff of about 8. So I really started to look at how we were helping as an organization and helping our elderly get through their daily lives, as well as those caregivers and how the caregivers were able to help these individuals. Just because you get a new diagnosis, or there's a fall, or now you have a caregiver in your house, you don't stop living your life. You have to keep going. Well, then 2020 exploded. My days changed very quickly. They went to about 12 to 16 hours a day of just listening to people, caregivers, clients, their family members, my team, my staff, my family, my friends. Everybody was scared, to say the least. We were all facing a lot of unknowns, and we were all very overwhelmed, to say the least. But what I found most fascinating was that my conversations didn't actually change in the words and the comfort that I was offering to people. Yes, the emotion and the overall sensitivity of all the situations of 2020 made the things more intense, but I was still having conversations in response to other people's reactions of events. Not unlike the conversations we had when people were being discharged at 5 p.m. with no plan, no idea what's happening, or they have a new diagnosis, or just a crisis emergency situation in the family where they need help and they've come to us. Well, in response to the pandemic, my team and I started scrambling for solutions. I started educating myself on everything I could find relevant. So I started learning about epidemiology. I learned how to say epidemiology. I started researching sleep, nutrition, vitamin deficiencies, body mechanics. It is amazing at how much of our health is simply reactive. So that gave me an idea. What if we all did what we're supposed to do? And what if we were more purposeful and proactive in our own health and aging overall? What would something like that look like? What benefits could that bring to the individual, to the community, or to our healthcare system overall? There's just so much about aging that we don't talk about. We aren't prepared. We aren't financially able to pay for a majority of these things. We think that our doctors will be the answers, but they don't have the time to be up to date on all the resources and options available to everybody. And your body will change regardless of what you choose to acknowledge or regardless of some things like dementia and chronic illness. Your body mechanics will naturally start to deteriorate, and it helps when you have a plan. At the home care company I was working for, our greatest successes came from those care teams with my caregivers, the doctors, the family members, everybody working together. But that took a lot of work. It required a plan, and we all had to work together to execute that plan. Well, As an operations manager, I couldn't get to everybody all the time. And I really wanted to just be there to support people, my caregivers and families, in this unprecedented and challenging time. So after realizing my biggest priorities and my true joy, I launched Journey Care Coordinating just 3 months ago. And to support these individuals, and to fulfill my passion, I've put together a way to facilitate conversations with clients and their care teams, help people make plans and set realistic goals, and have an extra pair of helping hands when they need it. Because guys, life is not about the destination. Questions? Any questions in the back?
I like that you started a healthcare business during a pandemic.
Well, wait until March.
Are you targeting businesses or individuals?
Individuals. So I work with elderly clients and provide concierge services or a full-blown 5 pillars of health package where we're putting a care plan together, looking at the 5 pillars of health: sleep, nutrition, connectedness, purpose, and physical activity. We set goals and we run everybody through that. I work with an RN who's also a dementia specialist, and I work with a nutritionist here in the Springs so that we can make sure we dive into the science of everything that you need, as well as more things from there. Yes?
Are you meeting your patients at their home then? Are they coming to a facility? How does that work?
It's all in-home. So we start with a 90-minute in-home assessment because I do need to have eyes on everything, actually. More questions? Frank, I'm ready for your questions, Frank.
Well, good. I didn't want to disappoint you, Connie. So, thinking of that, I'm a little confused. So, just help me understand.
Yeah.
What differentiates what you do versus what are those people that come into homes and care for people and et cetera? A lot of those around. Yep. So what is it that you do that differentiates you?
I do what they don't do. So if you go to a home care company, most home care companies are able to provide you with a variety of services, but you have a caregiver who's providing those services. Most of those caregivers are CNAs, HHAs, trained medical professionals in a way, and they like to be respected as trained medical professionals. So what I do is I go in and more than just, hey, did the laundry get done? Did mom eat today? Well, what did mom eat today? How did mom get out of bed today? Why did mom get out of bed today? What are we doing to actually give purpose and help these people be more proactive? Because, like I said, we're all living much longer. And when you just put somebody in the home or you just leave people to their own devices, that's when, we become more uncomfortable. We don't do the things that we should do to make us healthy. Or we just, we don't live a full life. We kind of just get into this survival mode.
You're working in tandem with these companies then? Is this a partnership, a collaboration, or
Well, yeah.
you replace them totally?
No, my goal, and that's part of my ask that I'll get to, but my goal is to be that resource for everyone who is entering the world of aging, I guess. So if you're 40 years and older and you have questions about aging, I want to be that resource and have every solution already ready to go. So all you have to come to me and say, hey, mom needs help. I have no idea what I'm doing. My doctor said I needed to call a home care company. So what do I do? Okay, well, let's take a look. Do you want the home care company and you just want to know the basics of what mom needs? Or are we going to work together to make sure she's living out the rest of her life in the best way possible? Yes?
Does medical insurance cover your services?
No. Sadly, and that's one of the most important things that I do actually discuss with clients, we're all private pay. A lot of services are actually, and that's the sad part, is if you are planning on Medicare and Medicaid, or Social Security being your solution, I really would start to explore other solutions. Questions? Yes, in the back, sorry, the light.
Oh, me? Okay. So do you have like a list of services that you provide, like, meal preps, exercising, spiritual development, like anything that you can personalize in your packages depending on who you're working with?
Yes. Yep, absolutely. Thank you. Yep. So I have like my a la carte services that we'll call it. So if you really just need someone like, I've got 5 minutes, mom's got to get to the doctor or dad's got to do something and I'm busy, call me, we'll just get it done. Or we have the option of working through the whole care plan and putting all of that bigger goals in place. And you can start with one and move over to the other too. Very flexible. Yes?
So are you actually providing the care, or are you kind of coordinating, like, all right, you need this type of person, it's non-medical care, but you also need to go to Walgreens to get your prescriptions, so you need travel service here.
Correct.
And then outsourcing to other companies in the community?
Yep. So it's a combination of that, of the services that I am able to provide because I am not a trained medical professional. So I can do things like the grocery shopping and coordinating schedules and organizing bill payments and things of that nature. But caregivers don't do that thing. So that's why we still need people to help fill in those gaps because family members can't get everything done on their own and caregivers aren't even allowed to do a lot of it either. Yes.
That was going to be kind of my question is the resources that you have to have, how do you find those resources and make those connections? Because it seems like you really got to know, like, and trust those people to have them be an extension of yourself within your business. Mm-hmm. How do you find those resources?
That is actually why I'm here today. Not only have I been coming to 1 Million Cups for a while, I really, really enjoy this group and this whole community here. And so I am going to turn to you guys for some help on that because I do need to know a lot of people in this town. And I've been here for 4 years, but I was working on the East Coast. So the good thing that happened when COVID did hit, I was already digital. So I didn't have to change anything. So that made things nice. But now I'm branching out here and I need to get to know everybody and anybody because that's important. And then I have some bigger ideas that tie into that as that starts to grow too, to help keep our costs for the clients down as well. Yes?
What are those bigger ideas?
Okay. So I'm working on a community partnership program. So basically it is a program that I would like to have qualified and screened referral sources where we're both benefiting and providing each other resources. On top of that, there's also going to be a variety of cross-marketing opportunities and YouTube videos provided as well. So then we will partner together in a financial way to then make sure that my costs for my clients are able to be kept lower. And so it all kind of feeds and ties into each other. And the whole point is to bring my clients and the community of local businesses together. One of the issues with the pandemic was we had to turn to places like Amazon. And we ordered some masks and this box came and it was mislabeled. It wasn't in English. We had no idea what was going on, but it was literally the only thing available. So I don't ever want to ever be in that position again, personally. So I want to work with the local resources and those local businesses. Any other questions? Yes.
So I know that it can be hard financially, like resource-wise, being private pay. What are the benefits of you being a private pay agency?
There's nothing else out there. So that is one of my business challenges is I am a very niche market. I'm basically carving out this care coordinating piece. Right now, what you have are licensed geriatric care managers, and they are phenomenal. However, they do cost a really hefty price. But everybody needs this help. After 4 years of working in the industry, this is what my job was. Majority of the time was educating and empowering people. And so I think there's a way for all of us to come together and work together because there aren't a lot of those solutions out there right now, but we need to start making these changes now. There's already a national caregiver shortage, which has just been hit horribly with COVID and unemployment and all those issues. And then right now people are still relying on things like Medicare, Social Security, when they don't cover home care. Well, we all saw what happened in the pandemic with the facilities and assisted livings. And, that's not always the best option either. Yes?
I remember in getting to know you so far, a lot of times you work with people because they don't know how to navigate asking questions, finding the right provider, interviewing homes or other care. That's where you're filling in some of that too, is that right?
Correct. Yep. So my goal is that if you're overwhelmed and worried, you can't even think about the questions you need to ask. You can't even advocate for yourself or for your loved one. So that's where I come in. I've already done all that work. I've gone through all this process. I've already worked with several individuals in your exact position. But that doesn't mean that your treatment should be any less custom or that you should have any less resources available to you. You still deserve that tailored pitch. But a lot of people can't take the time to do that. With our home care company, we did everything we could to help everybody in every situation. But sometimes you just can't get to all those little details. So having another pair of hands helps. Way in the back.
So are you actually a resource for the patient, or are you a resource for the support system?
Yes, great question. So my services are for the elderly individuals, but majority of the support is for the caregivers and their families, professional caregivers or just family members in those positions now. Sorry, did that answer the question? Yeah. Okay, good. Okay.
If, you keep talking about, you want to concentrate on the elderly, but, everybody who goes to a home isn't always elderly. Sometimes they're just hurt or they have other issues going on. Do you work with them as well, or just the elderly?
Yes, yep. I can theoretically work with anybody over the age of 18. Yes.
Do you find that the patients are coming to you, or is it more the family members that are seeking you out?
Well, that's the hard part. It is the family member or that burnt out caregiver who's hit that moment of like, I cannot do this all by myself anymore, but then they don't know where to go. And that's where also coming together with the community partners and people out in the community knowing who I am and what I do. When you're talking to your friends and your loved ones and they are so overwhelmed, everybody knows somebody taking care of somebody else. And they have those moments of, I just can't do this anymore. Well, hey, I just heard about Connie with Journey Care Coordinating. Just give her a call, see what she can do to help you get rid of some of that overwhelming feeling. Yeah.
More of a question for you. Have you thought about how to get in front of your demographic, on a high volume scale? I'm thinking in my head, YMCA, Silver Sneakers, those are the types of programs that I'm thinking about for you.
Yes. Yep. So I actually do volunteer with Silver Key Senior Resources. So if you guys have never heard of them, definitely check them out. They're a tremendous resource to the community. And then part of my marketing plan is to actually host little parties in clubhouses at community centers or in individual homes and just bring 3 to 5 people together. And we're just going to have a casual conversation about the cost of aging, home care versus assisted living, what a caregiver wishes that you knew about what they do and not do. But it's just to really create a space to have a casual conversation because it's not a fun topic, but these are conversations we need to have because God forbid something happens and you don't have a plan. Yes?
How does your pricing model work? Are you billing by the hour and then subcontracting out as a consulting fee? And then the second question I would ask is the niche you mentioned you're carving out right now.
Mm-hmm.
Who's in that niche?
Okay. So the niche is just basically this care coordinator piece. So a care coordinator is going to be that middle person where we're coordinating a schedule for a caregiver, we're talking to doctors, we're making sure medications are filled, and we're also making sure that there's a meal plan that we're following or activities, things like that, all of this based on the family members. But what's happening with this niche is the doctor is simply going to hand you a flyer, say this is what you need, call this person, do this. And there's no explanation behind anything. So you really don't know what you don't know in these situations. And majority of this has just been years of learning from people's situations and being that outside source and being that middle person and just learning where people are struggling. Let's see, let me think of a prime example. There's just little things, like everybody can just Google dementia. And you're like, oh, okay, here are the symptoms of dementia. But if you are physically caring for someone with dementia, well, their peripheral vision will start to go. And most people at that age, you can't hear very well. So if you're over here talking to mom, she can't see you, she can't hear you. It's not that she's ignoring you, it's just that she doesn't know you're there. But these little tiny details of this whole industry is where we're starting to see a lot of inefficiencies. People are getting lost, there's lots of gaps, and it's actually causing health issues amongst everybody in our population. And then that ties into the healthcare system. So this niche market is really about creating that space and that solution for people and getting the word out there that you're not alone in these situations and there is help out there, and trying to make it more available and more normalized, I guess. And then my pricing structure. So my concierge, a la carte services, is just $50 an hour. Try and keep it simple. My Pillars of Health package, because it is quite a bit to get you up and running, it is $500 for that initial first month, which includes a 90-minute in-home assessment. I'm also partnering with a company called Home Accept, EXCEPT, and they provide little tags that you can put. It's a little button tag. You put it on your doors or your toilet or your refrigerator, and then you can set filters around it, and it tracks motion, thermal, and humidity or temperature in the room. So you can see and track all this information streamed directly to your phone. So you don't relying on cameras and people giving you updates. It's going right to your phone to update you about the activity in your loved one's home. And then there's a few other things that tie in with that, like hourly services tie into that. And then it's $250 a month ongoing, but that does include 5 hours of service provided by me every month, as well as the other things in there as well. So that's the Pillars of Health package. And that's where we are going to work alongside your doctors and your care teams, along with my RN and my nutritionist. And we're going to put goals in place and get everybody on board so we can all work together for that plan.
So real quick, if we can circle back to the niche question, and then we'll go to our super special questions.
Okay.
I just want to make sure, like, us as a community, we know who your customer actually is inside that niche, because if it's not people on Medicaid and Social Security, is a certain income ranges, certain retirement set aside, like who are those people that are going to say yes to you?
Okay, thank you. That's a good way of saying it. So for my services and clients, basically I will work with anyone over the age of 65. That's normally when you start to see some of these issues start to come out. So my services are for those people. We'll say elderly, but like the gentleman pointed out, not everybody who's elderly needs help. So, but the person with the purchasing decision, I guess we'll say, is that caregiver and that family member that is burnt out. So it's kind of in tangent selling to both, but it is that caregiver who's going to probably make the financial decision in the home, and they are obviously the ones who probably need the most support. So, thank you.
All right, who wants to ask the question? Somebody else. Yes.
What can we as a Colorado Springs community do to support you?
Thank you. So on your table, you will see a sheet where I have asked if you know of a company or business that provides a product or service that will benefit or assist the elderly in our community. Please give me at least the company name and a way to contact somebody so that we can start putting those plans together just to meet and provide those resources and referrals. But other than that, and then, yeah, I'd just love to meet with all of you.